Good people, good people, good people. Welcome back to the Gumptown Podcast, episode 159. I'm Doug B. If you tuned in to this podcast, thank you for your time and your attention. I really appreciate you giving it a shot. Today's guest is the founder and owner of By Her Hands Atelier and Spa. I'm looking forward to this conversation, and I'm sure we'll all be inspired by her story. Let's chop it up with Jah Jah Whiting. Jah Jah, how's it going?
It's going well. How you feeling?
Glad to hear that. All is well on my end, too. First things first, thank you for taking time out of your schedule to chop it up with me. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. It's good to be here.
Yes, ma'am. Of course, here to talk about all the great things you're doing in business with By Her Hands, Atelier, and Spa. But before we talk
hmm
business, let's get to know the woman behind the brand. Born and raised in the Gump, what was your upbringing like?
Um, I was actually raised in the projects to about sixth grade, and my parents ended up buying a house, so they kind of moved us out of the area because they wanted to give us a better life, I guess. I got, I was raised with three sisters, my mom, my dad, and we had a pretty decent middle class lifestyle. We did the things, we did some summer vacations, and I think a pretty average childhood.
Okay. Sounds good to me. You had both parents in the household, your siblings, and parents made that move from interesting living situation to move y'all to a
Mhm.
better situation. So salute to your parents for getting y'all out of that previous situation. It sounds like you had a good village coming up.
Absolutely, absolutely. My family is very close, so that played a major role in the woman I am today, too.
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. Because as the old adage says, it takes a village, you know?
Absolutely.
Yes, ma'am. So you finish up high school in Montgomery and you go on to attend Ashford University online. What was that experience like?
Um, it was challenging because you have to have a lot of discipline when you're doing classes online. But I wanted it so bad, so I made sure I stayed focused, and made time to, complete my classes and my assignments. So it wasn't too bad. Not too difficult either. It's just a lot of writing, a lot of paper, essays for online classes.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. I definitely understand how that goes. I got my MBA online. Well, I took a couple classes online. And one thing about online classes, yeah, it's convenient because you don't have to go into a classroom, but the workload be crazy because they be loading
Yeah.
you up with papers and quizzes and all types of stuff with them online classes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, ma'am. So you obtained your Bachelor's of Arts in Healthcare from Ashford University. Then you go on to roll and graduate from UA, Roll Tide, with your
Roll
Master of,
Tide.
yes, ma'am, with your Master of Social Work. What led
Yes.
you to go back to want to go get your Master's?
Um, I had a hard time finding work with my bachelor's degree, and I've always known that I wanted to help people in some way. So that's why I got a master's in social work. I did that for a little while, but it was very traumatizing to me, some of the things I had to experience in that field, which is how I got placed in the field I'm in now. I'm a licensed esthetician, so I think social work was actually the foundation to teach me how to be more sympathetic and empathetic with people, to be really good at what I'm doing now.
Mm. And that makes sense. And I know we were talking a little bit offline just how pivotal getting your MBA in social work, how big of a role it played in what you do now as a full-time entrepreneur. And I appreciate you for sharing your experience. And even in those traumatic experiences, it just sounds like you were able to turn that pain into purpose.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I love
Yes,
it here.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That's what it's all about. So you're a licensed esthetician.
Yes.
So that pretty much means you're an expert in skin care. You make those recommendations. You know all about the skin. So what exactly inspired you to want to pivot into that space?
Absolutely, because I've always been big on skincare. But my thing is now I know a lot of estheticians focus on skincare, but with my business, I focus more so on relaxation and stress relief. I feel like stress is one of the major causes in a lot of skincare problems. So if we can kind of get that under control. Of course, I do the facials and the recommendations, but when it comes to the relaxation and taking time for yourself, self-care, I think that's even more important because it'll help with your skin at the same time.
I like that. So you're not just focused on the skin, you focus on the root problems that lead to the skin problems. I like that.
Absolutely. It's the ultimate relaxation spa.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so let's talk more about that. By Her Hands, Atelier, Spa. What inspired that name?
When I first started, I was really into the French theme, and that's how I kind of wanted to decorate. And actually, I started by making, like, I do a lot of DIY projects, and I would make things when I was in grad school. I make products big projects, and I would sell them on Etsy. And so everything was done by my hand, so it was called by her hand. So I kind of used that to move forward with this business. And like I said, I had a French theme, so that's why I got the Atelier because Atelier is French and it's spa. I can't even talk. It's studio in French. So I went with that.
Okay, sounds good. Very organic way how you came up with the name and rocking and rolling in business. And I see you launched the business in 2021
Yeah.
in in the midst of pandemic. Of course, we know 2020
Mhm.
things kicked off and the world was in a very uncertain place, a very scary place.
Yeah.
And what exactly, so how were you able to stay afloat and pivot and stay afloat in business during the pandemic? I know 2021 was a little less stressful than
Mhm.
2020, but it was still somewhat the thick of the pandemic. How did you navigate that?
Because at that time we were kind of coming out of the pandemic a little bit,
Hmm.
and people kind of needed to get out. They needed to be, they needed some self-care. They needed stress relief. So it was actually, it started off really, really well. It was just what the people needed at the time. So it just kind of took off actually.
Okay. Makes sense. And that's perfect. Like you were in the right place at the right time. Like you said,
There you
pandemic
go.
was starting to ease up a little bit and people wanted to get out, wanted some stress relief, and
Hmm.
you had the problem solver right there waiting for them. So that's amazing. You were forward
Oh
thinking
yeah.
with it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because I actually started doing body sculpting, and during COVID, a lot of people put on a couple of pounds because they were in the house a lot. So that portion of the business helped a lot too.
Mm. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. You're right about that. I put on a few pounds myself during the pandemic, just at the house, eating good, watching
Yes.
Netflix. Yeah. Oh, that's all right. That's amazing. So no, that's great. So that actually transitions perfectly into my next segment. So whenever I have entrepreneurs on the platform like yourself, I like to talk about three things: the aha moment, action, and audacity. Take us back to your aha moment when you first had the idea to turn your love for skincare into a business.
My aha moment. When I had my body sculpting business, Montgomery changed the regulations of who can perform body sculpting. And I didn't want to go back to work a 9 to 5 for anyone else. So I was like, aha, I can go get my esthetician license. And so I went to Birmingham to Aveda and I got my license.
Mm. I like that right there. She said she didn't want to go hit the clock no more. She wanted
I
to
had to
work
figure
for
out something
herself.
else.
Hey, I definitely understand that. So, and even just talking about that, so you're a full-time entrepreneur from the sounds of it now, and that's amazing. That's great stuff. So, when you got ready to make that transition out of the 9 to 5 world into full-time entrepreneurship, did you tell any of your family or friends what you were about to embark on, or did you just go for it?
I just went for it. I feel like sometimes you have to move in silence and just let them see the after effects because I don't like to get like negative feedback. So I'd rather make a decision. If I fail, then I'll be mad at myself. So I just do it and pray that it works. And most times God works it out for me.
Hmm. Yes, ma'am. I like that. That makes perfect sense. Sometimes you just gotta pop out and show them. Like Kendrick
Hmm.
Lamar said, we gotta keep it clean though for the kids on the podcast. You just gotta pop out.
Absolutely.
I understand that. I'm the same way, Jah Jah. I like to move in silence. I like because I don't necessarily want any negative feedback because a negative word
Exactly.
can make you second guess yourself or you can
Hmm.
start overthinking. So I definitely commend you for how you did it, transitioning into full-time entrepreneurship and just from the time you had your aha moment, you went back to esthetician school. So upon
Hmm.
finishing up, did you go right into launching the business or how long did that take once you finished school?
I graduated in July. I was open by August 1st of, well, the spa business. I graduated in July and I opened here on Atlanta Highway August 1st.
Hmm. That's what I'm talking about. You didn't waste no
Um,
time. You knew exactly what
no,
it was. Like you
I already
said
had a
earlier.
plan.
Now I like that. I think that's dope. You were a woman on a mission. You weren't going back to hit that clock. So you finished up school in July, started business in August. That's dope.
Hmm.
But that
Yeah.
last portion, audacity, it's one thing to have an idea. It's another thing to put action behind the idea. But to put it out to the world to be praised or criticized, that's where the audacity comes in my opinion. And just from our conversation thus far, it sounds like you gave yourself the audacity to step out there.
Oh, absolutely. And I was just like, hey, if it fails, then hey, I had an experience, and if it thrives, then we got some going. So I just like to take chances. Like I said, I feel like I'm God's favorite, and He always works things out in my favor. So I had to win.
Hmm. I like that. And that's a great mentality. And with that mindset, you will win. Because, like you just said, God got your back. God gonna
Hmm.
make sure God will provide, and that's just the mindset to have. And it goes back to faith. Like a lot of people talk about having faith, but faith
Yeah,
really is just being willing to take the first step, not knowing what's on the other
absolutely.
side. Yes,
'Cause I was
ma'am.
terrified, but I did it.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the most important thing, Jah Jah. You were terrified, nerve wracking, leaving a 9 to 5, the umbrella,
Mhm.
the paycheck every 2 weeks that you know coming
Mhm.
to working for yourself. That's a scary feat, and I mean, you did
Mhm.
it anyway. So salute to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. So as in terms of just the vibe, the experience one can expect coming into your shop, what's the vibe like in your place of business?
It's relaxing, it's welcoming. I treat everybody like family. They're all my guests. So I just love on people. I want people to know how special, how important they are. And they're gonna leave here feeling better than they came. Come in stressed, leave refreshed. That's what I say.
Come in stressed, leave it fresh. I like that.
There you
You
go.
probably you probably need, you probably need to trademark that because somebody gonna hear that and think that I'm just messing with you. But no, that's great, and I definitely just looking at your 5-star reviews on Google, it
Yeah.
definitely matches up with what you say, just in terms of the great atmosphere and just it being quality service and an exceptional experience, and that's it goes back to what you were saying earlier about getting an MBA and learning how to work with people, and look, it's
Hmm.
paying off for you now.
Customer service is everything. Absolutely.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. So just in terms of you being a full-time entrepreneur and pretty much you working for yourself, so and you providing a relaxing environment for everyone else that come into your place of business, how does Jaja decompress? How do you relax? What do you do to press and relax?
I like to go hiking. I do yoga. I do meditation. And I definitely take self-care days. Like I'm closed on Sunday and Monday. So Mondays are usually my days I kind of just take time to decompress or just go get a massage myself.
Yes, ma'am. Sounds good. Hey, self-care is the best care. You know
Oh
that.
yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So you've done great things with the business, and I know great things are coming down the pipeline, which leads to my next portion, vision. What are some of your short-term and long-term goals for the business you feel comfortable sharing?
Short term, I'm trying to get a standalone business. Looking to just grow more and get I just recognize, I guess, more in Montgomery because a lot of people they come, they're like, I didn't know you were here. Like I'm here, I've been here, you know. So just to get I guess bigger space is my short term goal. Long term, I got a lot of things that I'm working on that I really don't want to talk about everything, but I have a lot of things that I'm working on right now.
Okay. Hey, all good. Hey, only share what you're comfortable with sharing, and like you said earlier, you like to work
I
in
don't have to
silence.
trademark it.
Yeah, hey, like you said earlier, you like to work in silence and pop out and show them. I respect it.
Absolutely.
Yes, ma'am. Those are great goals, short term, long term, and I have no doubt you'll make all those goals come to fruition.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. As we wrap up the podcast, Jaja, I want to ask the $1 million question. I started this podcast to highlight the greatness connected to the city, whether you were
Mhm.
born here or lived here for a significant period of your life, be it college, military, or work. You being a hometown hero. What do you appreciate the most about being from the Gump?
I appreciate the move. The cost of living. Um, for me, it's kind of peaceful. It's quiet, especially where I live. I engage with a lot of nice people. The people are friendly, and it's comfortable for me. That's why I'm having a hard time moving away, which I thought about, but I always tend to remain home.
Yes, ma'am. That's powerful stuff. Hey, you were laughing, but cost of living is a great reason to stay up in the Gump
Oh
now.
yeah.
Shoot, you start looking at places like Atlanta and
Hmm.
other places. You like, yeah, like Montgomery might not have the glitz and glamour, but you can make a
You can
decent
live
dollar.
comfortable
Exactly, exactly.
and
Like
travel everywhere else. That's what I do.
hey, I'm the same way, Jaja. Hey, I travel to those big cities that everybody moves to, but I'm with
Hmm.
you when you're right. Hey, that cost of living is lovely in Montgomery, but that's great, and I appreciate you for sharing that. So, how can the people connect with you, Jaja? What are your social media handles and website?
You can find me on Instagram and Facebook at Ja underscore all smiles or by her hands Atelier and Spa on Google. And you can text or call at 334-531-5288.
Yes, ma'am, and of course, I'll put all of that information in the description of the episode. Hey, Jaja, thanks again for the conversation. I really appreciate you.
You're very welcome. It's a pleasure.
Yes, ma'am. Good people, that concludes another dope episode of the Gumtown Podcast. In the meantime, in between time, y'all know what to do. Be blessed, be safe, but most importantly, have the audacity to be you. Go on.